Rashi explains over there it means a Jew who accepts charity from Gentiles. Psulin leidus. Apostle leidus. Hanimili b'farhesia. That's if you accept it publicly. Avol b'tzina, lo. But if you accept charity privately, it's not a problem with apostle leidus. Uve farhesia, there's another get there. Farhesia nami lo amaran. Ela de efshar leilad zune b'tzina. It's also, even if you accept it in public, if, for example, he has the ability to be sustained privately.
Food stamps?
That
That is public, yeah.
It's public.
Right.
This is
And that means he has the ability to make some money privately, and yet, even so, he sort of humiliates himself by standing in public and accepting from
The US
Gentiles.
government is not a religious.
Aval lo yefshar la'chiyusu. But for example, if he doesn't, if he can't earn money privately, then this is his livelihood. He would not be considered posel le'edus. Rashi there explains that accepting charity from Gentiles constitutes a chil Hashem, which, when done for the purpose of receiving money, invalidates one from being a witness. But
There was this famous, I think Zvi had a share on that, about an evangelist. A well-known evangelist gave several $1 million to a big yeshiva, but that yeshiva was some Hasidic group also controlled that hospital.
Yeah.
And they have a big sign there, donated by this and this evangelist, a couple $1 million.
He likes Steve.
Well, we could-
hang on, we're going to see tonight. We'll see
It's
the
the main issue, yeah.
we'll see various gedorim. Now,
The evangelist.
the levush, okay,
Yeah.
the levush is also a later achron on the Shulchan Aruch.
They love Israel, you know.
Says she'oimru hagoyim kama maguna umazu she'ein mefarnesin aniyehim. One of the chilul Hashem's is because the Gentiles say, look at these people that they don't take care of their own poor people. So it's a big chilul Hashem. Now, again, the Gemara seems to suggest that it's only when it's done publicly. But we're going to quote another Gemara in Bava Basra that says it might be even a problem even to do it b'tzina. Ifrei Hormuz was Imei de Shvar Malka. Shvar Malka was one of the kings of Persia. There are many stories in the Gemara about Ifrei Hormuz. Shadara Arba Mea Dinri Lakami Dravami V'lo Kiblinu. She sent a certain amount of money to Ravami. Ravami didn't accept it. Shadinu Kamei de Rava. She sent it to Rava. Kablinu. So he accepted it. Why? Mishum Shalom Malchus. Of course. Remember, we talked about Ava. We've had other issues. So again, he was concerned that if someone didn't accept this gift, it would be problematic regarding the Jews who live there. Yet, Shomer Ravami Ikpid. Ravami was upset why Rava accepted it. Omar, Leslie Biovich Ktsira Tijaberta Noshim Bos Meirososa. It's a saying that when branches are very dry, they're going to break. That means it's a posuk in Yeshayahu that seems to imply that it's not the appropriate thing for him to have done. So why did Rav accept it? Rav mishum shalom malchus. Ravami nami mishum shalom. Ravami doesn't worry about shalom malchus. The evil lemeflaginu la'aniyah of the kachanim. Rava, who accepted the gift, should have given it to other Gentiles, poor people of Gentiles, and not to Jews. Rava namalani of the kachavim yavinu. Rava Enachanami the Gemara says only gave it to Gentiles. Rav Ami de Ikbid who de lo saimi kamei. But Rav Ami got angry because it's not like he consulted with Rav Ami or discussed it with Rav Ami what to do beforehand. Because in the end, it seems that Rava didn't give it to Jews. So you see, even if it was done privately, I mean, it wasn't done publicly through Ifrei Hormuz to the Jews. They gave it to Rava. Rava was going to do it privately. Yet, they didn't really, both Amoraim seemed to reject the concept of giving it to the Jews privately.
Or wouldn't it have been public, though, that Rava was given this gift to distribute or something? I mean, wouldn't that
But
already know?
apparently that was, because the Levush concludes from this Gemara that it's a problem as well to accept it privately, from the way so maybe there was a way for Rava to hide it, in terms of it wasn't known exactly where the money came from. Now, so how does the Shulchan Aruch rule? You have these two Gemaras. So in your
This is Dafka of the Avodah Zorah that you take the money.
here it just says Gentiles. Here it's not. Here it's not an issue of avodah zarah. It's an issue of chilul Hashem. And it's not like we had Walter's saying this because in the previous sections we've talked about, can you walk into a church? Well, if it's considered mamish akum of the avodah zarah, you can't. If it's not, you can. So, but here it doesn't seem to be related to how they're worshiping. It seems to be like a chilul Hashem that the Jews are not taking care of their own.
So here, for example, even like government food stamps would be considered a Chil Hashem also. You know,
Let's see. We're going to have some discussion about that.
Food stamp, I don't think
Jews can't
so.
take care
Food
of their
stamp
own.
is paid by Jews also. We pay taxes on it.
We're all contributing.
So how does the Shulchan Aruch in Yoredei paskin? Also, Yisrael litol stokim in ha'ovek kechavim b'far Hesya. So here it does talk about a Gentile who's worshiping avodah zarah, and therefore we also have these heterim that today that are, since the Gentiles are not necessarily of the avodah zarah, there could be a leniency. But let's say he doesn't get enough tzedakah from Jews. So he can accept it even publicly if he has no other needs.
A guy is not allowed to put his plaque on a school.
Say it again.
Plaque on a school. The school is tzedakah. You're taking care of the children, whatever it is. It's tzedakah. It's a Jewish day school. Somebody's got a business associate. They want to give money because I don't know whatever that's happened.
You see, we are Shulchan Aruch paskins that from an however you want to discuss oivdei kechavim before Hestia, it would be
To
problematic.
take down his plaque.
Say it again.
No, they do.
You wouldn't accept in the first place. But again, if they're not considered of the avodah zarah today, it could be less problematic.
They give it,
Chil
it's
Hashem-
not
Chil
only,
Hashem.
they get something from it
If
though.
people understand, oh, this is a business associate, they do this sort of thing,
Yeah,
then
sure,
they
they-
loses the Chil Hashem
Yeah.
component.
Perhaps if they could come up with like another
Yeah,
svara as
because,
to
yeah,
why
yeah,
it was
yeah,
done,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
friends of an honoree brings it in.
Yeah,
of
because
course.
you have that.
They
by
gain
a
from- they
dinner,
gain
by a
from it.
golf competition.
Yes.
whatever
They
it is.
gain from
They're
it.
giving tzedakah. It's going to the school, and they must
Okay, listen, we've just begun. Let's see what other heterim we have. The Taz, right? On Yoredei, you have the Shach and the Taz, the major commentaries. The Taz suggests that the Gemara Bava Basra refers to a situation where the Gentiles desire to give charity specifically to Jewish poor and support them, while the Shulchan Aruch and Gemara Sanhedrin refers to a case where the Gentile simply wishes to help anyone in need. So you see, there's enough kamina could be between a Gentile who's just in general helping all people versus somebody who just wants to give to Jews.
So that's the specific problem we have with the Hillel Eckstein's charity. It was Gentiles, right?
Who are
Evangel-
specifically giving to
all
Jews.
Evangelicals specifically to Jews because they believe we're their.
So Rav Vosner,
What do you mean? I see the commercials with the poor Jews and they're raising money for the
Giving specifically for Jews.
so Rav Vosner's the Shevet HaLevi, was modern day posek, just passed away a couple of years ago, lived in Bnei Brak, okay? So the Shut Shevet HaLevi says, Osel Yisrael litzot stokum na akum b'far Hesya. Ayin berishon l'tzion, the gam b'tzina ikak tzas chil Hashem. So he also considers that if you accept it even privately, it's a chil Hashem. Or inami, b'shum biyovish ktsira, because of the posuk that was quoted in Yeshayahu, in Baba Basra, that you're being over that pasuk. If he can substantiate his funding from Jews, then it's also. And number two, this issue of being posuladus is only if you accept it publicly. And so the
evangelists are worse. Because
but he mentioned so even privately there might be a
They have
problem in
they have a
accepting.
different cheshbon. They're not
different
giving you stuff.
exactly.
They have
They wanna win you over.
They have a hidden agenda. They have an agenda.
So it's even worse of a problem.
Even worse.
Even worse of a problem. If there's a concept of proselytizing, then of course it'd be
No, they're
worse
not
of a
trying to
problem.
proselytize. They
But
just
we
want
have so few-
us to be successful so that their Moshiach comes.
We have so few
Okay,
friends
well,
in this world.
well,
are
what
gonna
they
do?
believe is
Kick out the
it's not our
evangelists.
concern.
Figured cut them out also, yeah.
What Prager says, fine, you support me now, and when he comes, when your Messiah comes back.
Here's
support
the
you
stuff
then.
with that Avodah Zarah,
Now,
the last time below.
The Tzitz Eliezer, again, was a modern day posek, also didn't pass away too long ago, has 21 volumes of Shutim, particularly medical halacha, Rav Waldenberg. The Tzitz Eliezer distinguishes between receiving charity from Gentiles in general, where there is sometimes room to be lenient, as opposed to from idol worshippers, where one should be stringent based on the ruling of the Rambam. So that's where Walter came in. So, Chlora, today, since most of the Gentiles are not mamish oivdei avodah zara, it might be less of a problem. Now, betur technai rosh b'mochan alav mochan alev b'beis hacholim shari tzedek. So there was a head of the cardiology department. Heviu lefanav mitnadevet michul, a Gentile volunteer from Chutz La'aretz came and wanted to volunteer at the hospital. Shenoida lo shahayalo, and he was informed that she was not Jewish. V'nisayra al kein esla shelim mutar lekablo. So based on this concept, that you can't accept charity, it's not just money charity. Maybe you can't accept even a Jewish volunteer, a non-Jewish volunteer for the same issue.
The hospital has no.
That means they're going to say the same thing. Look, the Jews can't even volunteer for their own needs. They're not taking care of their own people. Could be the same category of Chilul Hashem.
too, maybe.
So the Kare also kabel nidvos ma'akum k'de'itza b'basra. So the Tzitz Eliezer comes down to this.
As opposed to a hired nurse.
This was a volunteer.
I'm
Yeah,
asking as opposed
a
to
hired nurse is a job.
an Arab nurse.
Is a job. So that's not. It's not here. It's stalker. There's no isser to hire a Gentile to work for you. So he wanted to sort of complete the picture. He wanted to know exactly what branch. Like we've talked, Catholicism, we know, had more of a problem than, let's say, Unitarianism, where there's no shituf. They don't hold of the Trinity. So the Tzitz Eliezer was concerned that he didn't get the complete picture, that he wasn't told exactly what denomination she was. Ki b'halacha zos shel ein mekabelin tzedakah me'akum yesh halacha noseves b'zeh b'Rambam. V'hi lo b'ferish mamlachim in Perik Yud Hilchos Malachim Malacha Yud shemachalik b'zeh ben oivdei avodah zara leben ben noach she'eino oivdei avodah zara. So right away we have the Rambam, who in this issue of accepting tzedakah from non-Jews clearly makes a distinction if they worship idols or if they're a regular ben noach. Uposek, and he paskins sheben noach sheratzu lasos mitzvah mishar mitzvah satorah k'dei lekabel schar in monin oisoim lasois kilchasa. Let's say he wants to do a mitzvah from other mitzvahs in the Torah. We know he cannot goy sheshavas chayv mitzvah, so it's only some.
But a Ben Noach doesn't have a mitzvah of Ma'aseh.
No, but tzedakah he has.
Where
If
does he have- where-
he just says if he's shirotzu lasos mitzvah mishar mitzvah sator k'dei lekabel schar ein moinin ois, so we don't prevent him from doing it lasos kilchasa. V'mehevi ola mekabel mimenu. We are mekabel. A korban ola was the only korban that we accepted from a non-Jew. They could send a korban ola, not a shlomim. They couldn't partake in it because an ola is kula kolil.
How do you define?
So hang on. So nosan staka mekabel mimenu. The nosan Yisrael ayin sham. So based on the Rambam, the Tzitz Eliezer wants to be extremely lenient to say that a ben Noach you can accept staka for ben Noach.
Ben
Noach
He can't show. He can't do Shabbos. Goyish Shabbos chayv mitzvah. There's other things he can't do. But that's why he said mishar mitzvah. There's some mitzvahs in the Torah that he might be able to. We accept the korban ola from him. Now, other
Pretty nurse or
a real today a bizman hazeh, a real ben Noach. Well, technically a ben Noach is someone who is mekabelis sheva mitzvos, and the main thing is that he doesn't worship avodah zarah, because that's the main distinguishing point between goyim and non-goyim, as the Rambam says.
It's the bigger problem.
Now, other poskim rule that in contemporary times there may be a problem of proselytization. Like you mentioned, there's certain groups that donate, particularly because they want to target Jews. Though if it is clear that it is not the intention of the donors, it may be permitted. Who says this? The Dvar Chevron. This is Rav Dov Lior of Kiryat Arba. I was in the presence of Dov Lior Yom Ha'atzmaut last year, on the 70th anniversary. We celebrated it with the Mizrahi delegation in Kiryat Arba. And Rav Lior is one of the Gedolei Hador today. Long white beard. He's one of the Mizrahi Rabbonim. He's a major posek. So, and he's the Dvar Chevron because he lives in Chevron. שאלת, האם מותר לך לקבל תמיכה מארגון נוצרי למימוש תכניותיך בהר הבית? So a Christian organization wants to donate to some organization that is, involved in preserving the Har HaBayit or setting up the Har HaBayit or whatever. Tshuva. אין לקבל מהנוצרים שום תמיכה בכל דרך שהיא ולכל מטרה שהיא. He paskin no. כוונתם ודאי לעזור לעם ישראל על מנת שבבוא העת יאמינו בעושו האיש. He says the whole purpose of it is that they're helping us because eventually they want us to believe in עושו האיש according to their theology. וכבר כתב על כך מרן הרב קוק באיגרוסיו, so in the letters of Rav Kook, שאפילו תרומות לאנשים חולים אסור לקבל מהם. Even if they want to give for sick people, you can't accept from them. We're talking about these that are doing it particularly for proselytization. לאחרונה, הם גם רצו לחלק קמחא דפסחא. They wanted to donate for קמחא דפסחא, for מוהס חיטים. ויצא קרוס שחוסם עליו מספר רבנים, וביניהם מרן הגאון הרב אברהם שפירא, שאין לקבל מהם שום תמיכה. Again, Rav Shapir was also was a Mizrahi Rav. We're not talking about the Haredi community. So yet, you see, they were also very machmir regarding this. So Rav Lior is sort of joining this pack that seems to suggest we shouldn't accept it. Omnam, im yesh eno Yehudi shirotze litrom. Right, he uses a nice phrase, eno Yehudi. He doesn't use the phrase akum or whatever. He says eno Yehudi. Lo b'klal emunat hanatzrut. It has nothing to do with Christianity. Ela shehu makir Yehudim v'mechabed osam. Like somebody being honored at a dinner. They're honoring them. They respect them. Ein isur l'kabel mehem doron. So we already have a psak of Rav Lior. In that, what Walter was mentioning, let's say you have a dinner and somebody, let's say, donates money. It has nothing to do with proselytization. They're honoring a business partner or something like that. It's clear that he paskins that it's okay. Okay. So it doesn't answer all of the questions that were brought, but we get sort of we understand the source of the halacha. We see how the various posts can deal with it. Okay. Next,
But what was the
page
makor?
62.
What was the makor of that?
The makor was the two Gemaras, one in Baba Basra and one in Sanhedrin.
You read the one footnote that says that the two Gemaras are referring to different, one was public, the other was private, and that was the difference between the two Gemaras.
Right.
What you said.
Yeah, we read that. Okay.
But there's no Mishnah or anything.
No, specific, the difference of one says
Just
specifically
from
the
the
Jewish
Gemara.
people.
Amar Rav Nachman,
Yeah.
Ifrahim, yeah, it's not a Mish.
Stop.
It's not a Mishnah.
Okay.
It's a strange,
Yeah, but you see how the Shulchan Aruch Paskin clearly.
Yeah, I understand.
uh,
It's usually what we
There'd be a source for mission.
Okay. Images of the sun, moon, and constellations.
It does.
We've all been in
It's a strange-
shuls.
It's a strange
or-
mahalach, yeah. Just this
Say it again.
mahalach is a strange mahalach because it comes straight from the Gemara. It's unusual.
Okay. Images of the sun, moon, and constellations. It is written in the Torah, "You shall not make with me gods of silver, gods of gold, and shmot." The sages derive from there that it is a prohibition to sculpt or retain images of the heavenly bodies. That the Gemara there clarifies that there are two separate prohibitions. On a biblical level, it's forbidden to construct these forms. From the Torah law. On a rabbinic level, it's prohibited to retain such forms, even if they were made by others, for fear of chashad or suspicion. You might be worshiping them. So we're going to clarify what are you prohibited to make, what are you prohibited to retain, based on the different approaches of the Rishonim. So the source is Masechta Rosh Hashanah, Demus Suros Levana, Haila Rabban Gamliel, Betavla, Uvekos Bal Yosef. Rabban Gamliel was the Nasi, and Adim, who saw the moon by Kiddush HaChodesh, would come to Bestin, and he would ask them, well, what did you see? Was it like this? Was it like that? And he had a chart. He had a chart. Sheben Maris had yoitos. He would show the people, the Adim coming in. V'omer hakazera isa or kazer, because they knew astronomically. So, for example, the convexity would only go this way, and if they would say that way, he knew they were liars or that it wasn't correct.
Was it that in different times of the year is it different convexity?
There are different based on where it is and what time, and yes, there are. They had it,
Where do you see it in high sky, low in the sky?
But the convection.
and also what direction the convexity. The Gemara went through that. The Gemara told us if it points this way versus points that way. That was one of the ways they were boiding the Eidim to know if they weren't correct.
Then you have to answer the question.
If they did. Okay. That's why it says hedyoitos. It doesn't mean, and it doesn't, it's not a tzurvim rabbanon, right? A tzurvim rabbanon means somebody who, huh?
The picture in the.
So Frank, what?
The picture in the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal on.
Yeah, very good.
Of the Muslim clerics on top of a building, where
How
it
much
was.
is it, $5?
With a telescope with two witnesses to see when the Moilad was.
For the Ramadan.
No,
It's a
eyes
Ramadan
like this.
Shabbos.
Right, but remember, the one thing, they don't have a leap month. So that's why Ramadan cycles throughout the year, can be, that's why our Pesach is always in spring, because like we talked about, 7 times out of every 19 years, we brought sources that was, the Babylonians already understood that. They did it 12 plus 7. We intermixed the 7 years within the 19. But the Babylonians did 12 years of 12-month years, of 12 months, and then they did 7 with 13. And then that got them back to the original date so that it wouldn't, the spring, if your holiday was in spring, it would stay in spring. The Ramadan has never done that. So that's why it's all over the place.
Well, the holiday would drift into the fall and they bring it back to spring.
So the Gemara asks, Umi Shari, how did Rav Gamliel have this tablet? V'haksiv, lo tasun iti, lo tasun kidmushim shi, don't make images of things that serve me, right? Because the understanding with the constellations, the sun, moon, are shamoshim of Kodesh Baruch. On Rav Huna Braid Ravidi, the Pirkei Demai Shmieli, lo tasun iti, lo tasun oti. Don't like make an image of me, but that not necessarily referring to the shamoshim. Frank the Gemara, Shar shamoshim mishori vatanya, lo tasun iti, lo tasun kidmut shimshi, hamishamshim lefonei b'maram. Don't make a picture of the things that serve me. Kigon ofanim, usrafim, v'chayos hakodesh, amolech ha'ashares. So these are spiritual beings. That's not an astronomical thing yet. So at this point, it seems like there's an isser, whatever these things look like, right? Because I'm not sure we know ofanim are like a wheel, and the srafim are different malachim, but they're spiritual beings. It's not astronomical ones. So no. The only isser is astronomical things that are actually serving in the sky. Now, there was a distinction between, this had to do with the concept of the sublunar and the supralunar world was something that Aristotle and the Greeks, and it remained until Copernicus and Newton and Galileo. And they thought that anything above the earth had to be perfect. It had to be perfect. The earth was a bad place, but the heavenly things, the superlunar, because sublunar was from the moon down, moon and above was considered the heavens, and it had to be perfect. That's why the orbits had to be perfectly round. No, I'm talking about from philosophy. So this was the concept of the Christianity dealt with this, and science understood this. Galileo, when he first looked at the telescope and saw craters on the moon, was the first chink in the armor. And then Kepler, and eventually Newton, who calculated that the orbits are not circular, but elliptical. And then not only that, when Newton was hit on the head with an apple, gravity was the concept that the same force that is on the apple is on the moon. And bodies attract, so that the superlunar things have no special place in the universe. It's all the same. This was the beginning of the secular realm, the decreasing power of the church because of this whole superlunar thing, and that's what they're referring to here. So they ask, is it permitted to make a picture of the Tachton Vatanya Asher B'Shamayim? L'Rabos Chama, the sun, L'Levona, Chavim Azolos, the constellations, Mimal, and above that is the Rabbos Molech Hashares, Ki Tanya Hi L'Avdom. That's to serve them. V'asiya great, so but it seems to imply that maybe you could make a tmuna of them. Freik the Gemara, V'asiya greatest Mishor, is it permitted to just make an image of it? Vatanya, Lo Sasun Iti, Lo Sasun Kidmut Shim Sham Sham Shilfanei, Kigon Cham L'Levona, Chavim Azolos. So we're back to the question: how could Rabban Gamliel have made a diagram with the picture of the moon? Shani Rabban Gamliel the Acherim Asulo. So first of all, he didn't do it; other people did it. I v'hab Rav Yehuda the Acherim Asulo v'Amar le Shmuel Rav Yehuda Shinan, you of long teeth. Same Ene didn't take your eyes away from that. So implying you weren't even allowed to retain, even if somebody else made it for you, you weren't allowed to retain it and keep it and look at it. So here's important to answer the Gemara. Chosam chosmoi boilet hava. There was a picture of something and it stuck out. It was a relief. It wasn't flat. It was, right? We say the word relief, or it was raised. It was raised.
3 dimensions.
So therefore, umishum chashada. So this is like an idol. It's got physical form. That would be kedetanya tabas. So what about a ring? Choismoi boiled. If the ring has like a face that sticks up, osur lanicha. But umuter lachtam, you couldn't wear it, but you could use it as a seal. Remember, they would drop a little ink and they would wax or whatever, and they would use the ring to do it.
I understand. Are you allowed to make a picture, let's say, of the 3 malach that came to visit, the malachim that came to visit Avraham? Are you allowed to make a painting of that?
So
with their
right
image?
now we're talking about sun, moon, and constellation.
That's all we're
Pictures of
talking about.
people we're going to get to. But this is step by step.
There's a different-
Right now we've just read the Gemara. The Gemara didn't say anything about images of people. But it did say this ring and a face and a nose. So Jerry, right now, if you made a flat painting, l'chor is not a
There's
problem.
a difference between painting and sculpture.
Well, that would be worse. Sculpture certainly would be
Yeah,
worse.
'cause
But you can have a painting where you've been to museums where it's in relief, it comes out, and that's also a problem. But if you had a flat picture right now, l'chor, it wouldn't be such an issue. Or we said like a ring,
What about the ring?
or a
Graduating
coin.
ring with the embossing the ring.
However, chosmo shokeya, if it's an indent, mutter lanicha, but osur lachtombo. You couldn't wear it, but you would be able to use it to stamp.
No, you
Yeah. You couldn't stamp with it, but you could wear it.
wear it.
Now, the Gemara distinct
What would the nafkamina be to stamp with
Because
it?
when you press on the wax. so
because
then
that
you
creates a
have to-
protruding
you have to-
image.
you have
That's
to-
a problem.
Wax, so where-
See, if you have an indented ring and you had wax, now when you press it in, it's going to raise up. That's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So the Gemara distinguishes between a raised form and a sunken flat form. Now, in order to understand the following Rishonim that we're going to bring, we have to delineate the 3 groups of images referred to in the Gemara. We talked about images of heavenly bodies, those that serve Hashem, images of humans that are made in
Well, that's what I'm
Hashem's
talking about.
image.
Okay.
Lo sasun ot refers to either humans that were made in Hashem's image, or other beings that serve Hashem, like angels, chayas, and seraphim. And then other images, like animals, the picture of the ocean, like any kind of painting that are not heavenly bodies, that are not people.
It doesn't say Los Asunos OT, it says
Yeah.
ET.
No, but then there's but the more made a drasha there. Lotasun iti, but then we said lotasun osi. You see that it's not like a kriuk si, but the more makes a drasha. It's written lotasun osi, but lotasun oisi. Don't make something that looks like me. Since it says human beings were made b'tselem Elokim, and I guess the angels were made the same way. I mean, if the angels showed up to Avram and they looked like human beings, so in a sense they're also made b'tselem Elokim. So the Rishonim are going to have a machlokes, what type of case the Gemara refers to, when it distinguishes between a protruding seal and a sunken seal. They will also dispute in which case there's a prohibition to form the images, and in which a prohibition exists to retain them in one's house.
Can't you make the argument that yes, indeed, once upon a time, the sun and moon and stars were worshipped as idols, and so that's what the pasuk could be interpreted to mean, and nowadays it's not, so you would the pasuk would mean something else.
How do we know people don't worship those today? Aren't there primitive tribes that still worship that? It's certainly not common,
Right.
but it is still worshipped. It may still be worshipped by people, and
I mean, the Zahara for Avodah Zarah
has been diminished,
Right.
has been weakened. We talked about what was the last time we talked about this whole
That's-
concept.
that's- I mean,
But it's not that avodah zarah. Voodoo,
No, in the Western-
Haiti.
it's the
Well,
Western world. In the East,
They have Avodah
It's
Zarah.
huge.
Right?
Come
Now, I don't know, but we don't know if they worship the sun and the moon. They may.
Yeah, Avodah Zarah for sure.
Every house.
So, according to Tosfos, the first opinion, Rambam and the Tosfos. According to Tosfos and the Rambam, this is in Masechta Avodah Zarah, one may not make an image of heavenly bodies even if they are sunken. So, this thing about protruding versus sunken, L'chora, Tosfos and Rambam say you can't do it no matter what, as that is how they are seen by the human eye. Therefore, the distinction made by the Gemara between protruding or raised and sunken refers only to faces of people, not these heavenly bodies. So, l'chora, based on that understanding, a flat face would be okay, and a raised face would not be okay. But according to the way the Rambam and Tosfos are learning, by heavenly bodies, it makes no difference whether it's a sun or... Now, remember, we've been into many shuls. We know exactly what kind of decorations you see in shuls. Okay, you don't see the sun and the moon. Okay, sometimes you see animals because they've been the shvatim, right? Aryeh, Yehudas, and Aryeh, and everything. So we'll see. We may get into some of that. Now the Rambam adds that concerning images of animals and the like, it is even permitted to form them as protruding. Let's see in Sin's side. The Tosfos says, Rabbi Gamliel was an individual. So why didn't they answer that, you know what, the moon was not sticking out? And that's why he was allowed to do it. Why wasn't that one of the terutzim given, right? So the Tosfos very clearly is making no distinction between whether it's sunken or not. V'chein bekarka, v'chein b'rekiya shoikim heim. V'lo maflig b'hochi, elegabi partsufin v'chiyotzu ben. Yeah, we see them, right? So he's saying when we look at the sky, we don't see them as protruding or not. So, but by partsufim, then it might make a difference. The Rambam says the same thing. V'chein osur lotzer demus chama levona kochavim azos malachim. Shenemar lo tasun iti, lo tasun kidmus shimsham shamshi lefona b'morim. He quotes the Gemara b'feirush. V'afilu ala luach, not even on a board. But tzuras habehemos ushar nefesh chaya chutz min adam the tzuras ha'ilonos trees the deshoim grass the kiyotzu mutter lot tzurisam v'afilu ha'isad tzur boletus even if it's protruding. So we're learning the basic halachos. All these questions you've always asked: what is permitted, what's not. So we see beferish Rambam by the heavenly bodies, it's a problem.
You have to have a globe.
And we'll see. He also Rambam said distinguish the human
globe of the
being.
moon. Are you allowed to have it? A globe.
I mean, a globe like we have a globe.
A globe, like you have a globe of the earth. You have a globe.
Yeah,
of
but
the
the
moon.
earth, that's the earth. That's not.
Yeah, but
That's not
you
one of the
cannot have a globe of
shamoshim.
the moon and the sun to show the relationship between the moon. Sun,
Oh,
and earth.
good, that's a good question. Now, that would be according to this. So first of all, if you're teaching science,
Talking about the mobiles that they make?
huh?
Ernie, he's talking about a mobile.
When they used to
kids
make-
have it.
Sun,
That's what
moon,
he's
and
talking about.
constellations,
Yes.
right? Is that just to the to those, or what about Jupiter and planets?
There's a
Right,
big-
are the planets
I think
considered
it's
a
shining.
problem?
Yes,
It's shining,
yes,
right?
yeah. Well, they knew planets. They're
So
wandering.
if you have a globe. it's-
Well, globe is the Earth. That's us. That was sublunar. That's not. It's not shamoshim. But the planets would be a problem. Huh?
Ask you a question, the Jews never had a sundial?
Okay, the sundial is not an image of the sun. Sundial was a tool. The sundial was a tool that was used to, if you see the shadow and you made a time. It's not an image of the sun. It's using the sun.
They always have anti-phones.
Okay, so we have the Rambam and Tosfos. Let's see what the Rishonim. Let's see the chiluk ben the Rishonim, and then we'll see how the Shulchan Aruch paskins. That's where we're heading, right? According to the Ramban, it's prohibited to form any shape of the heavenly bodies or of the human face, whether they are protruding or flat. So we see already the Ramban is more machmir regarding the human face, because Tosfos didn't have that issue. The only distinction that is drawn in regard to these images is concerning retaining them. Is it permitted to retain sunken or flat pictures? It is permitted to retain sunken or flat pictures. You can't make them. So if somebody gave them to you, you could keep it. But not if they are protruding. If somebody gave you something like that was protruding, you'd have to get rid of it. Regarding other images, it is prohibited to make or retain protruding ones. We're talking about like trees, rivers, but if it's protruding, you couldn't. But it's permitted to make and retain ones that are sunken or flat. So Ramban's very clear. Let's see the Chidushei Ramban Masechta Avodah Zarah. It's the same Gemara, Avodah Zarah Mem Gimel. that he's quoting on. Vasikna did Musha Moshim afilish modar atachton asurin. So the heavenly bodies, even in the lower heavens, I guess closer to us, etc., they're all asur. V'ner lefarish v'lomar deloshna boilet v'loshna shuki. So he says beferish, makes no difference, flat or not flat. V'chein bepartzuf adam, and it's highlighted because you see that's different than Tosfos and Rambam. The lota sum ksiv, v'lo polig rachmana ben bolo shokea. So the Ramban again clearly says that a human face makes no difference, you can't have it. Ela b'shacher masulo om rabbanon shokea muter. But somebody, couldn't make that.
So you can't have a painting.
But if somebody
of your
gave you,
family and it hanging from the wall?
if you made it,
That's
no,
what
if somebody
says.
gave
No
it,
face.
Ela b'shacherim asulo om rabbanon shokea muter ubolet asur mishum chashada. So if somebody gave you a flat painting, you could keep it.
So at a cemetery, that's why you can't have raised letters on the name, on the.
I don't know, that's letters.
Black with the pictures. and
Huh?
That's a picture. We haven't said that there's a problem with letters, Jerry.
Everyone says you're not supposed to have the
There
letters
is something
raised
about
up.
lettering too.
But it's not. We haven't seen that
Can't
yet.
raise letters.
Based on what?
They have to be engraved, not raised.
That's true.
Well, it doesn't say anything about oisios yet. We haven't get there.
That's different, that's different, it's a hechos of Elus, it's a whole different thing.
Okay, but regarding avodah zarah, it's not. That does not seem to be in the issue of avodah zarah. Maybe there's another reason for that. V'hadatanya tabasha choisma boilet. Right, we brought the Gemara with the ring that was sticking up. Lavid mushim shemoro. That was not. That didn't have a heavenly drawing. El b'shar kolatzurasi. That was something else. Maybe a human face or a tree. The kivan the boletas ninu iklemecha shel because it's sticking up. We're worried it's going to be worshipped. Shematzura nevedesi. It's like a statue that's being worshipped. Kivan shu menicha because you're keeping it. Bafal pishacher masulo asur anicha can't keep it. Asur lasos kol tzur boleta shemayormu lavoda hu osas. It can't make anything that's sticking. So Ramban is very machmir. Rambam and Tosfos seem to be lenient. What is it? Yes, hello.
Who accepts all these things as a avodah zarah? Rarely do you find in the world that you have the pictures that are worshipped as a avodah zarah. A picture of a lake and a tree and things like that. I mean, you have to take anything that's worshipped someplace and say this is avodah zarah.
But you see,
in the world, they worship avodah zarah.
they're using a very important word, chshad.
Chashad.
There's a suspicion.
But there's
If
no-
you have been given something and you've retained it, it's like Marasayan. We are choshid you, so it leads to suspicion. That's the problem. It's not that what the statistics are of how many there are, how many the people are going to worry that you are an avodah zarah, Nick.
People don't believe that today, it's just not even a chashad.
Well, we don't. But you yourself said that in Asia it's rampant.
It's not a chashad that because.
But if somebody
you
will
actually
walk
kept
in your
it-
house,
No,
somebody
Gary,
will walk in your
Yerushalayim.
house and they see
Everything is gonna be-
a painting bolleted, and they say, oh,
But you see, the issue is chashad. They're concerned about chashad. They're concerned that if you
All I'm
retained
saying,
it,
There could be scenarios
that-
where there's no chashad at all.
is
hey,
there?
there's no chashad.
So what you're saying is
Very
there's no
generalized.
pictures hanging there?
No, boil it. Let's first of all, let's get to the Shulchan Aruch. We have the Gemara. We saw the opinion of the Rambam and Tosfos. We see the Ramban. He's more machmir. Let's see what the Ritva says. Another Rishon. One is permitted to make any image if it is flat. So the Ritva now is the most lenient of them all, because remember the Rambam and Tosfos said that if the heavenly bodies you couldn't do anything. So he says you can make even a heavenly body if it's flat. A protruding image of the heavenly bodies as well as the human face is prohibited. But ones of other objects are permitted, even if it's protruding. So the Ritva says if you have a river or a tree and it's protruding, it's also permitted.
It's okay.
It's a Rishon, Ritva. One is always permitted to retain objects as long as there's no concern of chashad. Okay? Let's see.
That's what we just said, that if there's no concern of chashad, in other words, somebody.
No, as long as there's no concern of chashad.
I understand.
Right. So you're saying, but we have to.
Saying if a flat surface, there's no, in those days there was no chashad, obviously, according to the Ritva.
Ushmamina, the asiya asura, making, fashioning these things are asura. Kiyu muter, kolechad alekach shada. It's to retain it, to keep it with you, as long as there's no chashad. That source of it is muter lasosa, kidefrishna le'el midaminan Tzuras darkon miosr, shapes of idolatry permitted to be made, as he explained. Those are only prohibited if they're sticking out. But why would you be able to use that thing to stamp? That it's permitted. That means we see them sort of in relief. Mazel shokea yaduahu she'en hashkia hi ke'en hashkia nizkeres kan kanal. With Rav Gamliel bolten hayu shekein mareya. Rav Gamliel's he claims Rav Gamliel's images were boiled. V'adamar nahasam b'choismo boiled b'shum chshada lo naktin in loshen hasam. B'shum chshada b'chein das mar arashba gamitzas Rabbeinu Tzorfas kein pasku. So the Ritva is extremely lenient and says that as long as it's flat, it's fine, but a human face and the heavenly bodies that are boiled are a problem. How does the Shulchan Aruch pasku? In your Dea Kuf Mem Aleph, Osir L'Tzayer Tzuras from Mother Shechina. You may not draw images in this the way that looks like the Shechina. For example, he says 4 faces together. Kigon Dal Ponim Badi Adodi. I guess that's an image of V'chein Tzuras Srofim V'Ofonim HaMolecha Asharis.
What's the four?
He says 4 faces together is somehow considered well, no, because remember the chariot, the Merkava had one human face, Yaakov Avinu, and then it had a lion, it had a nesher, and it had a cow. And they say that the reason why the Klal Yisrael built the Egel Azov is because when Hashem came down on Har Sinai, came down with the Merkava, and they saw that. But they saw one of the studim that they saw was the cow sign. So what was the Egel Azov? Moshe Rabbeinu was late. They didn't want to worship the Avodah Zarah. They wanted a sarsur. They wanted an intermediary, just like Moshe was an intermediary between them and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They wanted the same thing. Well, they saw that this chariot had a cow on the side of it. That's why they fashioned an egel. Now there were 3,000 Jews who managed worshipped it as an Avodah Zarah. Only 3,000. And that's when Moshe Rabbeinu said, Mila Hashem Elai, and they killed out the 3,000. But the vast majority of Klal Yisrael did not worship Chet HaEgel, did not worship that Egel as an Avodah Zarah. They just wanted it as a sarsur. Okay.
It didn't come.
So you see, it wasn't 4 faces. I don't know where they get this thing about the 4
It came out
shchinas.
small though. The
Say again?
eagle came by itself. They put it in the fire, and that's how it came out. But maybe that's what they didn't. They would form it.
Okay.
They didn't form
Okay,
it.
right, it formed by itself. Well, yeah, Rashi says that.
Time as a kasha for you.
Rashi says that.
And the other,
That it formed by itself.
Otherwise, they say they formed.
No, because it says Tzorah, if you read the Pasuk, it says they fashioned it.
What's there if it's an egel or not? Even if it's a
No,
beautiful
I
stone,
brought it
still,
up because here
still,
the Shulchan Aruch
worship
says
it.
that if you draw an image of 4 faces, that's considered like the Shechina. I just pointed out that Yechezkel in Perek Aleph, which is Haftorah of Shavuos, talks about only one side of the Merkava. Now that's not the Shechina. So whatever the Shechina is, apparently has a 4-faced Shechina. Say it again? No, because that didn't have 4 faces. That only had one human face. And the Malachim say, by the way, so there Rashi says that the face was Yaakov Avinu. What's the shot there? By the angels going up and down. Rashi there says they saw Yaakov lying there and they recognized him because that was the same face as what was Chakuk on the Merkava. What were you saying?
Mine wants to know, can you go to Mount Rushmore? Got 4 faces.
No, 4 face and 1, not 4.
No, there's 4. There's 4. Washington,
And they,
I know, but
Lincoln,
It's not.
Jefferson, and Theodore Roosevelt.
No, but the 4 images you're talking about, 4 pictures together, 4 faces together.
There's roof.
Yeah. It's the Shulchan Aruch is talking about some Kabbalistic image that maybe the Kabbalists know about, 4 faces together. He quotes, this is a reference to the 4 faces mentioned in the prophet Yechezkel. But it's interesting because there it's not human faces, so I don't know what they're saying.
Yeah, 3 brothers.
So he says creating a human face is a problem. even if it's just for decoration.
Gee,
Vim oived kochav masomlo,
you should be
asr
reading
lashosim.
this.
If a oived kochavim, again, we have the same gedorim, like we want to say, are they oivdei avodas or are they not? If they gave it to you as a gift, you may not keep them. Amed varmam boletes. So the Shulchan Aruch is passing like the Ritva. He says only if it's sticking out. Ava b'shokas, if it's flat, ka'oisem she'orgin beveget. So number one, like a tapestry,
Shulchan is sunken.
Or flat.
or flat. I would say flat, certainly.
Flat, we know, convex, okay.
Okay, and even so, in Hanami, even sunken, and certainly flat.
Concave, huh?
Flat's not a problem. So you want to say it's a bigger chiddush to say sunken?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Dimensional.
Aval b'shokas ka'oisem she'orgin beveget. So first of all, he says like is woven in a tapestry. That's not really sunken. Ushmitzrayim b'koisel b'samonim, or they use paint to paint on a wall. Mutter lasoisem. So this isn't just retaining it. You're allowed to do it. You're allowed to be the painter of these things. The tzuras chama levana v'koichlim lahavin lahoyres kulan mutaros gives us another getter. You're studying aeronautic engineering. You're studying astronomy, and you asked about the globe. He says, well, forget about the globe. Let's say tzura, picture. Tzuras chama levana kachavim lahavin lahoyres. If you have to paskin a shaila, or you're studying, kulan mutaros, afilu boltois, even if it's sticking out. So I would say, based on this, what you asked about a globe and the planets and all that, you could. It certainly sounds from Shulchan Aruch that it would be permitted. Haggah, what does the Ramosh say for us Ashkenazim? Yesh matir b'shel rabim the lechach shada, and we have now. Walter has another leniency if you're going to decorate Yavna. If it's being done for public use, there's no chshad. Because the public, the tzipor, there's no chshad on the tzipor. The chshad is on an individual. So that now.
So I'll understand it. The tzibur doesn't have a chashad.
No, there's no chshad on a tzipor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or about this,
The chshad is always referring to an individual
It's not-
person. We don't know what he's doing in his house
But you-
privately.
Until they
That's
do,
the thing.
you have no chashad of that.
Now, by the way, chshad just doesn't relate to avodah zarah. Chshad relates to all sorts of things. Immorality. There's chshad that he's fooling around. There's chshad that he's eating treif. Huh?
Hanukkah, if he has two doors, he has to light in two doors menorah.
Because you're chshad that he's not doing it. Okay. Now, the shach was the major. I mean, between the shach and the taz, the shach is always authoritative in your day. Huh? So he clarifies that a flat image has the same halachic status as a sunken image, like what Chaim wanted to say. But medvar meboltos, perish beboltos dafka hu de oser. Bein b'shoy bein bois. You can't make it, you can't keep it, and that's if it's sticking out. Avol b'shoy kos mutter lasoisum. The kol shekain lasoisum. You can make it and certainly keep it. Me'ay time amash mitzarma la koisel v'luach. You're going to make a drawing on a wall or on a board. Avol pishu shove mikri shokas. Even though if it's so, he wants to say even if it's flat, it's considered shokas. Kivin de lavi boltas. As long as it's not relief, it's considered sunken. K'moshein atzman. Hilchach tzuras chama levona v'chitzuk dinami shoykin berikia osra afilu b'shokas. So he wants to say, he seems to be machmir by pictures of the sun and the moon. Whenever you look at the sun and the moon, they look two-dimensional. We don't see them in relief. So that's why he wants to say that they're prohibited. He's machmir beyond the Shulchan Aruch. He wants to say they're prohibited. You can see a very nice, he was 24 years old when he wrote the Shach. You can't believe, 24 years old. The Shach on Yoredeya, you just can't believe the volume of material, etc. He was 24 years old when he wrote the Shach. Okay. So the Taz argues with the Shulchan Aruch and rules in accordance with the Ramban. Remember, Ramban is machmir, that it is prohibited to make any image of the heavenly bodies or human face, even if it's sunken or flat, and the other raised image are also forbidden. So we have major machlokas here. You have the Shach and the Taz, and you have the Shulchan Aruch. We'll have to see how the later poskim regarding this. So the Taz says, mutter lasoisim, mashma kol atzuras atzuras tele'el mutter lasoisim, kishem shoikim. So that he's quoting that the Shulchan Aruch seems to be muttering everything. Avl betur hevi achar kach b'shem Ramban. So Harav Yaakov ben Arosh, right? is the Balaturim, wrote the Tur. The Tur he already divided into the same Dalet Chalokim that the Shulchan Aruch took the format from the Tur. Orach Chaim, Even HaEzer, Choshen Mishpat, he took the 4 Chalokim from the same way the Tur broke it up. Now, the Tur is extremely lengthy. He brings all the Gemaras, he brings all the Rishonim. Now, if you look at the Shulchan Aruch, we have none of that. He just, halach. That's why the Shulchan Aruch was accepted easier than the Tur. You have to be a real lamdan to look at it, but when you're studying Yoreh De'ah, you always read the Tur first, because the Tur gives you all the resources. Now, even if you look at the Shulchan Aruch, he's not going to give you where all the places, but the Tur will show you which Gemara, what are the Shitas of the Rishonim. So that's why the Taz is referring back to the Tur to say he brings the Shitas Ramban, which we just saw. There were 3 Shitas, Tosfos and Rambam. We had the Ritva, who was lenient, the Shulchan Aruch seemed to go like him, and the Ramban. So the Taz is awakening the sleeping Ramban, because of בכל מה שעושה מן התורה משום לא תעשוניתי, דהיינו 4 פנים שבמודר שכינה, ודמוס מלאכים שבמודר העליון, ודמוס חם לבונה כוכב מזול שבמודר התחתון, that means all the heavenly bodies, ודמוס אדם, משום שנאמר לא תעשונותי, פירוש, כדמוש שאני מראה עצמי לנביאים. The image that I appear to the Nevi'im, called Elu Osir, Bein Shokeh Bein, whether they're flat or not, Ela Bishar Tzuros, Yish Gam Ken Isser. Now, the other things, rivers, streams, other things. Al Bishar Tzuros, Yish Gam Ken Isser La Sosan, you can't make it. V'hu Midir Rabbanon. Sham. Yesh Chiluk Bein Shokeh LaBoilim. There's a distinction between flat and not. Mela Gam B'hanach Sha'osir Minator La Sosan. And the Isser Deraisa is to make them. It's just you could keep it if somebody gave it to you. It's maybe mutter midrabanan, mutter minatora, but also midrabanan because of this issue of chshad. Behem yesh chiluk ben shokel leboiled. V'deazu hevi aran b'shem arishonim. V'kosav alesha ken ikar. V'chkir ken min haTalmud. V'im ken comes the kicker of the Taz. V'im ken temal shulchan aruch. Shlo hevi das Ramban. Ulyin halacha vaday shein lahakel klal. Says we should not be mekel. Neged divrei Ramban, Batur Mesekim. No, it's just extremely valuable to see how halacha is developed. You see what the Shach said. You see how the Taz responds, etc. So now
you don't have any modern day poskim.
No.
This. Why?
Well, we do, but it's going to go into detail. So now we can understand the discussion that the Achronim are going to have, because they're going to be referring to all the Shitas. We've familiarized ourselves with the fundamental Shitas. So what about photographs of people? Based on the opinion of the Taz and the Ramban, some people in previous generations did not allow their picture to be taken because of the flat picture of a human being. However, Rav Kook, the first chief rabbi, rules that this is not the accepted halacha permitted pictures or drawing of people's faces. The Rav Kook also had a collection of response to the Shud Das Kohen, right? Rav Kook was a Kohen. It's called Das Kohen. B'tshuva al sheloso, in yesh eze meniya al pidin Torah, is there a reason to prevent from Torah law, to draw pictures, like we had in Shtisel, the Chassid was a painter, right? Shal Yehudim Charedim. I'm honored to respond to you. There are Chassidim who will refuse to allow their picture to be painted. Or to sit for a portrait, sir. I think it makes a distinction between picture and sitting for a portrait. And they have something to rely on. And that's regular people, somebody who wants to be a chassid and a parish. But Rav Kook wants to give us the basic halacha. Remember, a chassid means somebody who's going lifnim mishuras adin. He's going beyond the din. What is the din? Halacha pshuta shnispashta b'Yisrael pidin hashulchan aruch. He shalitzayetzuris adam b'tseval aluach, to paint the picture of a human being on a wall. V'adel photography. So we shouldn't have any. What he's talking about, a photograph. Ein isra mitzad adin. Mikra adin, it's all permitted. That's the minig of people. Many I grew up, Rabbi Adler was he was a relative of our family. We davened in his shtibel. And Rav Shlomke, his wife, was the granddaughter of the Zviller, Rav Shlomke.
Yeah.
And in his dining room, because we ate there many times for lunch, was this massive portrait of Rav Shlomke, who like had this, you looked at it, you were terrified. So he had a beautiful portrait of the grandfather, the Rav Shlomke, the Zviller. V'chein novas aminei gametzel chelek hagam yirem l'charedim, k'shiyesh b'dover tzrach shel mitzvah, v'chibu b'torah v'yahadus, or shar inyan muchrach v'nach, or if it's niz. Now, the Yalkut Yosef, which is Rav Ovadia Yosef, issues a similar ruling and explains it's permitted to keep a picture album in one's home. You can have pictures of your family and have an album. Rav Kook adds that it's commendable to try not to take a picture of the entire body, as mentioned by the Shulchan Aruch in the source below. Shulchan Aruch Yarden, the same simon there, says, Yesh Misha Omer, he brings an opinion, Shlo Osra B'tzuras Adam Udrakon, which was the name of some kind of statue, Eladavka B'tzuras Shlema B'chol Avereha. That's if you make a picture or a sculpture or something of the whole body with all of its limbs. Avotzuras rosh or goof below rosh, ein bashum iser lo b'motzav lo b'motzav. Now you can not making it and not in keeping it, not in finding it. So we have another distinction now. Picture of just a face is more lenient than a picture of a whole body.
And why would you think the whole body now?
Well, because you're not going to worship something you just see a face. This had to do with worship. So if you see the whole tzura of the person, then it's going to be more of a problem.
See, so that today, if we didn't have pictures of some of the older boys, it gives the young gives the young boys such inspiration.
So that's
to
why
look
it
at
said
things.
kishiyesh b'davar tzorach shel mitzvah v'chivu v'torah v'yahadus. I think they have the rabbi cards and all that. L'chora, that's done by Hasidic organizations. They don't have any problem with that. So again, the Das Cohen says,
Cards also asur to collect.
okay, it's 902. So
Baseball cards also asur to collect.
It's Husser? Oh my God!
okay, so
You better give him a
just
Mickey Mouse now.
we will finish.
He has some Jewish blood in
You
him.
can shut off. We will.